Welcome to Life Planning 101, brought to you by Kennedy Financial Services of Eastland. Tune in every Monday morning at 8:30 on KATX and again on Saturday morning at 9 on KATX and KWBY as Angela Robinson joins Terry Slavens to share important financial information to help you live life on purpose. Insurance, investments, estate and tax planning, and much more. All covered now on Life Planning 101.
And welcome into Life Planning 101 right here on KTX, KWBY. Angela Kennedy Robinson in the house with us. Good morning, Angela.
Good morning, and day after Christmas, and wow, we're headed into the new year, and do we have a show lined out for that?
Wow, new year already. It's hard to believe. And big changes coming for the new year.
Yes, that's right, and that's what our topic is all about today. There's that old adage that the only sure thing in life is death and taxes, but I think there's one other thing that can be added to that, and that's change, right?
Always.
It's pretty much a certainty that it's going to happen. And you know what? It's just a matter of whether you embrace change or do you fight it. And, I read a lot about, I read a lot of works and a lot of articles and things about successful people all the time. And the fact is that successful people embrace change. And really, sometimes they are the ones that are seeking out change. They don't just wait for it to happen. They seek it out, right?
They initiate it.
That's right.
And get it started. That's what it's all about.
That's right. And, we're going into a year that there is a lot of change coming. We have political change, and who knows how far that pendulum is going to swing this next year, right? And with that, what's happening with our markets, what's happening with our taxes, what happens with everything that's going on, and what's happening with your business. There's a lot of businesses that have just been kind of sitting there on the sideline waiting to see what will happen. And so, I think it's good that we all look at this from an embracing aspect and do what successful people do. And that's kind of the smart thing to do.
Go with it.
Go with it. There was an article that I got recently, and I'm not going to do a lot from this article, but if you want it, let us know. You can email us, lifeplanning@kennedy-financial.com, and get it. It's 6 signs it's time to change your life. And I read this a couple weeks ago. It was by Carrie Pestinger, okay? And here's the 6 signs. Every week, you can't wait for Friday to get here soon enough.
Always looking for Friday.
Yeah, always looking for Friday. Number 2, you live for your vacations.
Goes back to what we've talked about before about that carrot dangling out there.
That's
schedule
right.
that vacation, and then you just work towards it.
And are you living for it? So if you're living for it, maybe that means rather than living your life each day, maybe that means that you may need a change, right? Number 3, when you stop and think about it, you're not focusing your life on your priorities. So here's a little test for you. Write down your top 3 priorities. And then think about how much time you're actually spending on those priorities. And if you're not spending a lot of time on those priorities, perhaps it might be time for change, right?
Time for change.
Yep. Number 4, you have no idea what lights you up anymore, and you don't even have time in your life to really look for it. And I think we all get to points like this. We all go through ebbs and flows, some worse than others. But if you're so busy that you don't even know and you don't even have time to sit there and think about, what gets you excited, what gets you motivated, what gets you moving in the morning, and you don't feel that way, perhaps you need to change, right? You're frequently jealous. And I thought this was interesting when I read this because jealousy can come in all forms and fashions. The grass is always greener on the other side of the fence. And I think even for people that are not typically jealous, if you are ready for a change, you will ultimately be looking at other people's lives or other things and questioning, what if that was me? So, and then here's last but not least, you can't remember the last time you stepped out of your comfort zone. And I found this more interesting than anything when I was reading it because I am one of those people that a lot of people don't know this, even though I talk on the radio show every week. I'm more of an introvert than I am an extrovert. And it's very difficult for me. My husband actually gives me a hard time. It's very difficult for me sometimes to walk into crowds of people. I don't mind public speaking at all. I don't mind being on the radio, but I have a very hard time meeting new people in large groups. And he gives me a hard time about this. He needs people. He has to have them around him, right? And so, but here's the thing is when I do step out of my comfort zone, I'm always pleased that I did it after the fact, because it's fulfilling that I actually was able, hey, I did that. I was able to get through that. And, sometimes we aren't doing that enough with our lives, and we're just going with the status quo. So think about that. So change is certain, and we're going to either embrace it, we're going to fight it. And what we're really going to talk about today is, what should you be looking for in your life to change as this new year takes place? And this is the last week of the year. It's oftentimes when people really set sight on their New Year's resolutions. And so, this is a great place to be able to start, because I think a lot of times we just make a list of things that we want to get done, and we have no purpose for doing that in the new year. So let's stop, let's find the purpose, and then let's drive from there. When we come back, we're going to get into some things that you don't want to miss. And one of those is, are you accepting of your own self? And are you regretting, or are you building?
All right, we'll be back with more Life Planning 101 right here on KATX KWBY. You don't want to miss it. Welcome back in, Life Planning 101 right here on KATX KWBY. That's the Christmas is in the books, Angela, and we're talking change.
Yes, we're talking change. We're talking New Year. There is a lot of change in life, and there's going to be change no matter whether you like it or not. And I think one of those, things that you have to come to realization with is, do you want to be forced to change, or do you want to choose how you are going to change? And, this comes in line with what we do every day as a life planning firm. We try to help people see that, hey, if I make these choices and these changes, then I'm not going to be forced to live this lifestyle if this bad thing were to happen. And that's our job. We play devil's advocate all the time, because we've seen too many situations where a surviving spouse is left in a really bad situation because things weren't taken care of or bad choices were made, right? And oftentimes we don't mean to make bad choices, but we procrastinate too. Yeah. And so it's not, or we think, oh, that'll never happen to me. So, it's not always just about, seeing change out there in the future and saying, oh, I'll get around to it. No, you need to decide. Are you going to make that change or not? Because it could make a change on you, and it could make a change on your life or the people that you love the most. I'm not often motivated about myself. I could care less. If I'm literally have no mind, just put me in a place that I don't even care. It doesn't matter to me. But what I am motivated about, and it hit me really hard, is we were at a Christmas party with our clients a couple weeks ago, and they live on a golf course, and they were nice enough to actually host our Christmas party at their house. It was wonderful. And anyway, they live on a golf course, and you look out their back door, and there's the lake and the golf course and everything else. And my husband said, if I end up losing my mind and I have to go into care, I just want you to give me a view like this. Other than that, I don't care about anything. And it hit me really hard, and I don't know what it was in that moment, but it made me realize, dang right I would do that, because that's what he would want. And I care about him, and I love him so much. And we don't think about that until it's too late, too many times. So, be the change you want. Be the change you want to see in the world? Isn't there a saying like that? Right, yeah. But, be the change that you want to see happen this year. Don't let that, the changes that are inevitable in life take control of you.
And don't let the change that is forced upon you be your change.
That's right. So, here's some things I want you to think of as we step into the new year. And by the way, we've got this article. If you're making resolutions, I picked this up from Jeff Harden. He's a contributor editor for Inc.com, and he wrote an article called 17 Resolutions Only the Most Successful People Make. And I think this was a good outline to set you kind of on a path of what do I need to be looking at in the new year. And we've got it on our website. It's actually also on kwbyradio.com and katxradio.com, as well as kennedy-financial.com. And while you're on there, subscribe to those newsletters. We want to see you subscribing, because we're putting out stuff like this all the time. We also have a market commentary, right? This radio show is on there. We've got, of course, the recipe of the week for the women that want those extra fun recipes and things like that. So you don't want to be able to miss that. And any news and updates in every area of life planning goes on there. But let's get back to the meat of this. When we're talking about change and we're talking about these New Year's resolutions, what do you need to be looking at? What's really the most important thing? And John F. Kennedy, he had a quote, and I like this. He says, "Change is the law of life, and those who look only to the past or present are certain to miss the future."
Good stuff.
Yeah, it is good stuff. And we often do that. How many times do we reminisce? How much time do we spend reminiscing, really?
Too much.
Probably. Too much. Yeah, we all do that. Oh, wait, I should have done that. Or, oh, man. Oh,
if I would have known then what I know now.
That's right. How much do we do that? Well, if we quit thinking about those things, what could we get done because we're focusing our energy somewhere else? And I think that's what's really important to see. And, one of the things that I liked when I was putting all these articles together today and really thinking about anything, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, is, before we left the show, is giving yourself a gift. And that gift is acceptance. You are who you are. You're not going to change that. God made you a certain way, and He made me a certain way. And thank the Lord that He did. Can you imagine if you were just like your next door neighbor or just like someone else? I mean, would you really, really want to be that person, right?
Yeah, I have a saying, if everyone was like me, then I wouldn't be so special.
That's exactly right. And we're all special, and He meant for us all to be special. But, we have a choice in life that we either use that something special that He gave us or we don't. And oftentimes when we don't, we're miserable. So why not use it, right? But I think that comes with accepting the fact of who you are. I don't know about you. I'm my own worst enemy. I'm a harsh critic, and I don't talk very nice to myself. If I talk to other people like I talk to myself, oh my gosh, I'd have no friends. That'd be absolutely true, right? But don't we all do that? Don't we all talk bad to like, why did I do that? You stupid, da-da-da-da-da. We do that to ourselves. And why? Why do we do that to ourselves?
Why beat ourselves up?
Why beat ourselves up, right? We got to accept both the good and the bad qualities. One of the best things we ever implemented in our office is called unique abilities. And we literally go around, we decide what we're really, 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 really good at, we really, really like to do, and the things that we're really, really, really bad at, and we make laughs out of it and jokes out of it. And it's so much easier to accept yourself when you're like, yeah, that's just me. I'm not good at that, and that's why I have so and so in my life, because they helped me accomplish that. And that's the way the world is supposed to be work. I mean, imagine if everybody in the world was fit to be a cobbler. How many pairs of shoes would we have?
Too many.
Too many, right? So I need someone to make my shoes. There's no doubt about it. And I'm really good with numbers, so I can help that cobbler manage his finances while he can help me with my shoes. Exactly. And I think that's where we forget sometimes that we are who we are and we're unique. And we need to gift ourselves that gift of acceptance. Say, I'm okay with who I am, and I'm going to enter this new year working on my unique abilities, working on the gifts that God gave me. And I'm going to be excited being able to do that. When we come back, we're going to go into some things that you want to make sure, or you might want to make sure, that are on your resolution list, such as climbing out of that comfort zone and what that really means.
Final segment of Life Planning 101 coming up next on KATX KWBY. Welcome back into the final segment, Life Planning 101 here on KATX KWBY. Angela?
Yes, and we're talking about change. We're talking about the new year, setting those resolutions. Don't forget, we've got a great article, 17 Resolutions Only the Most Successful People Make, by Jeff Hayden. He's a contributor from Inc. magazine, and make sure and go on our website, be able to enjoy that. You don't want to miss it. I do have a Twitter poll, though. I want to know. Tweet us, KFS Life Planning. When it comes to change, do you embrace it, or are you afraid of it?
A lot of people don't like change.
No, they don't like change. But, and that's one of the things, this, like we mentioned, successful people, the difference is they actually embrace change. And most of the time, they're the ones that are catapults for change, right? They're the ones that actually make things happen. So, making sure that you're doing that. And that leads us into stepping out of that comfort zone and challenging yourself. On your resolution list this year, choose something that frightens you, but would make you better. Frightens you, but you need to be able to do to get you out there. For instance, scared of heights, but need to be able to do something to accomplish one of your goals? Go skydiving. Maybe a little extreme.
It is for me.
Maybe a little extreme, but you get the point. So, do something that's going to push you out there on those limits. I do this weekly. Like I mentioned, being around groups of people, and I do this weekly. And I'm always, nervous, scared but once I've accomplished it, I feel like I've grown, and I feel like I'm a better person because of what I've been able to do, right? And
exactly.
we all have those challenges. I heard our preacher yesterday, he actually said, I'm scared of public speaking. Wow, but to accomplish what the gift that God gave him, that's what he has to do, right? And he does it every single week. So think about that. What should you be doing? I think another thing to be able to know is live in the moment. How many of us, and maybe this is something you can count or make a game of in the day, but how many of us spend so much time stressing or worrying about what's going on that we don't even pay attention to what's just happened around us?
Lots and lots of people spend way too much time worrying about things that's out of their control.
That's exactly right. And I'm going to pick on men here for just a second, since we have one in the room and I'm able to do this. But I always give my husband a hard time. You're not listening. How many women do that? We all do that. Okay, you're not listening. It's because they're not in the moment, right? So spend some time in the moment. And us women, we're guilty too, we have to admit. But spend some time in the moment, enjoying life, listening to what your grandson is saying in the backseat of the car as you're driving down the road, even though it makes absolutely no sense. It might make you laugh, and you might enjoy it a little more, right? There's some things that we just forget, and we don't live in the moment. It's so important. Making learning that lifelong process. We had a show a couple weeks ago and we talked about that. But, learning not only is good maybe for your profession or for something that you want to accomplish, but it makes you become more confident, especially when you're having conversations, and more adaptable. And I think that's the most important thing, because is change inevitable?
Yes.
Do we need to be adaptable to change?
Absolutely.
Are we becoming a different country from what you grew up in?
Most definitely.
Then do you think you might need to be educated a little bit more to be able to paradigm shift and see another side of the fence, whether you like it or not, right? It doesn't matter. But educate yourself. Educate your children. One of the most wonderful things I think about having a kid is that I'm re-educating myself. It's fun. It's really, really fun. But it's made me see some things I thought I have forgotten, or I think of in a new light. And, because maybe when I was a child, I didn't think of them with that type of mindset. I just learned it,
Right.
So I think it's important for us to continue that learning in our life. Create a dream board. And everybody's either visual, auditory, or kinesthetic. And that dream board could be visual. It could be an audio board. It could be something that's tangible and you can put your hands all over if that's what you want. But, the thing is that when we're kids, we constantly dream. Right? We had big dreams. We were Spider-Man. We were
be a professional baseball player.
That's exactly right. And
whatever.
And what happened to those? Yeah, exactly. Now, some of them may not have been realistic, right?
Yes.
But do you have dreams today that you're just kind of putting on the side burner because they're just dreams?
Lots of people do that.
That's right. Put them in front of you. See them every day. There's a thing that you don't even know you have. You have this unconscious mind. Did you know you can lie to your unconscious mind? You can tell it a non-truth, and it doesn't know any different. So if you wake up every morning and you tell yourself, I am a successful person that gives away $1 million a year, if that's what you want to do, your unconscious mind doesn't even know that you're not that successful person that gives away $1 million a year. The powerful thing about that is that unconscious mind, when you tell it that, it becomes that, and it starts working toward that. That's pretty amazing, isn't it? Okay? So put yourself together, that dream board. I wake up, I tell myself certain things, and they're lies, but I tell myself certain things every single morning because that's the person I want to become. Those are the things that I want to accomplish, and my mind is going to work for me on those things.
So the unconscious mind helps you reach these goals.
That's right, unconsciously. Isn't that pretty powerful? You just got to get in the habit of doing it, right? And that gets to setting your goals. Make sure you're doing that. There's something called SMART goals. We have an article on this. I strongly encourage you. They're specific. They're measurable. You say them as if now. It goes back to that unconscious mind thing. They're realistic, right? And they're time-bound. Those are all very important attributes. I don't have time to go over those on the show today, but pull up our article, kennedy-financial.com, and you can go on and read about those SMART goals because you need to be setting them. constantly, for the next couple years, for the next year, and so on and so forth. They're extremely, extremely important. So with all this being said, the biggest thing is just start living and stop fearing change. Stop fearing what might have been, what will be. Live in that moment. Think about the things that are most important to you. Write those down and work on them. Why not do that? We wish everyone a very, very, very happy New Year. Blessings on all of our listeners, all of our clients, all of our friends, all of our family. We hope the New Year you're blessed abundantly. And don't forget to cheer for the Cowboys as well. They need your help. So
cheer for the Cowboys. Life Planning 101 next week will be on Tuesday.
Yes.
We have the New Year's holiday on Monday. So, Angela, Happy New Year's to you and all of your crew.
Yes. Happy New Year's.
That wraps up Life Planning 101 right here on KTX KWBY.
Thank you for joining us for Life Planning 101, brought to you by Kennedy Financial Services of Eastland. Tune in every Monday morning at 8:30 on KATX and again on Saturday morning at 9 o'clock on KATX and KWBY for more Life Planning 101.
Advisory services offered through Smart Money Group, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities offered through Calton & Associates Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Kennedy Financial Services Incorporated is an independent of Calton & Associates Incorporated and Smart Money Group, LLC.